Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, how fear of passing on a family business to a woman has resulted in the rise of adult male adoptions in Japan. Also, how strict egg donation laws here in France are causing long waiting lists and even longer queues for black women. And soaring above the waves, we visit Egypt's first female-only kitesurfing school. Now, here's an unusual fact. In Japan, more than 90% of adoptions are actually adult men and not children. Why? Well, in this conservative patriarchal society, handing over a family-run business to a woman is something that's simply just not done. So families with no male relations to take over the business will adopt suitably skilled young men to ensure that both their name and legacy are carried through until the next generation. Our France 24 team on the ground sent us this report.
Chieko Date is a matchmaker who's prepared to do whatever it takes to succeed. Today, she's travelled from Tokyo to Fukuyama, more than 400 miles away, to accompany her male client in his quest for love. But when she quizzes him about his qualities, it sounds less like preparation for a date than for a job interview.
How do you think you could help this clinic?
This is a local clinic, so we should emphasize that and mention that it has accomplished a lot over a very long period of time.
Kazue Fuji is seeking a husband, but he must have one important qualification: the ability to run her father's clinic after he retires. If Yoda performs well at this interview and ends up marrying Fuji, he'll be legally adopted by his in-laws.
I worked hard to build this clinic, but I don't know how long I can continue working. So I do need a successor.
My parents have two daughters, so as the eldest, I naturally wanted to become a doctor so I could help my father. The problem was I wasn't smart enough to continue studying medicine, so I gave up. Now I have no choice but to marry someone who can take over the running of the clinic.
About 80,000 men are adopted every year in Japan by families who run businesses but have no male heir. That's a problem, since traditionally businesses are inherited by men. The phenomenon, known as mukoyoshi, has been around for centuries, and it's still popular today. So much so that Date has built her agency around bringing together heirless families and prospective adoption candidates.
Japan's fertility rate is falling dramatically. Today, more and more families have only daughters. They spend their whole lives being told that they have to marry a mukoyoshi. So when they become adults, they feel under pressure to do so.
Even big family-run conglomerates that find themselves without a male heir have survived after adopting a male successor. Osamu Suzuki, the chairman of Suzuki Motors, is among them. But for Mariko Fujiwara, the system is proof that Japan remains a male-dominated society.
The phenomenon of mukoyoshi reflects a division of labor by gender, which is a traditional thinking in the Japanese society, because they would rather have a son-in-law to carry on the business than their own daughter. And true, parents may not have exercised the strategies to educate their daughters to become successful business women.
In rural Japan, adopting men is helping address the shortage of young farmers. Hisamitsu Tannai, who has 4 siblings, decided to join the ranks of the mukoyoshi 2 years ago, marrying a woman whose family run a dairy farm. He moved a long distance from his home and took his wife's family name.
My wife's father died before I arrived, and her mother is getting old. I don't think my wife and her mother could have managed to run such a big farm on their own. That's why I'm here.
The couple, who have a 2-year-old son, look like any other family. But being adopted as an adult comes with responsibilities. As well as caring for dozens of dairy cows, Hisamitsu has accepted that this must be a lifelong commitment.
I am now a member of the Hitomi family, so it's only natural that my ashes will be interred alongside the other members of the family. They welcomed me into their family, and families have to stay together, right to the very end.
The number of births in Japan dipped below 1 million for the first time last year, and more than a quarter of the country's population is aged 65 or over. That means the search for adopted male heirs like Hisamitsu is likely to continue for many decades to come.
Now, for many women struggling with fertility, egg donors are their only hope of getting pregnant. But here in France, strict egg donation laws have caused a severe shortage of donors. And it's even more difficult for black women who have to wait 4 times as long.
Sandrine is 34 years old. For many years, this Franco-Cameroonian woman has suffered from infertility. Her only hope is to find an egg donor. But in France, black donors are rare. It's a taboo topic in the African community. For the last year now, she has been meeting members of the African diaspora in the Paris region, raising awareness on the issue.
It's important to talk about this with Africans because today, when you are black like me, you have to wait more than 7 years for the eggs.
It's an uphill struggle for her. She's still waiting for a donor and refuses to give up.
I knew that I was infertile when I was quite young, and I would have liked to have known more on the topic. When I was 20, I would have liked it if someone could have talked to me about infertility and about how to conserve eggs and about hormone tests. So that's why I do this today.
The Cochin Hospital in Paris has the highest success rate in France. Here, every year, dozens of babies are born thanks to egg donors. It's in this hospital that Monica, who is also Franco-Cameroonian, donated her eggs several years ago.
J'ai donné mes ovocytes il y a de cela 10 ans, après avoir eu mon premier enfant.
I gave my eggs 10 years ago, after I had my first child. A woman I knew who was infertile called me. I realized that for us black women, it's more complicated because we don't receive enough information about egg donors. You have to wait so long for some. I don't regret what I did, and if I had to, I would probably do it again.
In eastern France, we meet Raissa, who's Franco-Mauritanian. The 39-year-old has yet to find an egg donor. She has been waiting for 5 years. It's not easy for her, and she does not want her face to be recognized.
J'ai appris que j'étais en insuffisance ovarienne.
I learned that I was infertile when I was 34. It has been a difficult process since then. I had just gone for a gynecological test. They noticed my problem, and they told me about egg donors. And since then, we were on a long waiting list. When you are black, there are not enough donors. We've been waiting for 5 years. If I were white, the average wait would be between 1 and 3 years. When you're black, it's between 5 and 10 years, unless you go abroad. But it's expensive if you go abroad. You need to pay around 10,000 euros. It's a lot of money. Not everyone can do that. So if you want to have a child, you have to wait for a donor.
Despite the price, many women do go abroad, often to Cameroon. In this clinic in Douala, about 50 women each year come to meet this doctor in the hope of finding a donor.
C'est souvent des patientes qui ont déjà eu plusieurs échecs répétés d'insémination.
Our patients have often tried artificial insemination
En général, elles ont le choix
and in vitro fertilization previously, but in vain. Often, our patients choose an egg donor from their family. If it's not possible, then it's an anonymous donor.
In Cameroon, on average, you have to wait 3 months to find a black donor. In France, it's several years. The cost is high, but it's the price to pay for these women to have a baby that has the same skin colour as them.
Now to Egypt, where the first kitesurfing camp just for women has been established. Its founder hoping to attract locals and foreigners alike to learn the skills of what traditionally is a male-dominated sport.
A turn in the tide in a country where sexism runs deep. In Al Ghuna on the Red Sea coast, Kite Tribe Girls claims to be Egypt's first and only all-woman kitesurfing camp. Egyptian New Zealander Maya Ayub opened the school in September, welcoming women of all levels.
So I decided to do Kite Tribe Girls, an all-women's camp, to encourage more Egyptian women, women from all walks of life, but mainly locals, to come and just get into it and get out of their comfort zones and get involved.
A 2013 UN study found over 99% of Egyptian women experience sexual harassment. When girls hit puberty, they're often discouraged from playing sports, and affordable exercise centres are usually dominated by men.
I want to train with women only, to feel safe and to avoid the difficulties of training with men, such as harassment or competition between us.
Sarah's happy to try a sport which hasn't yet spread to her country, Jordan, and she says the experience has boosted her confidence.
Even if it was a challenging sport or أي شيء تاني, if they have the support بين بعضهم, they can do it.
Those who wish can obtain a kitesurfing licence, though some choose simply to enjoy a new sport, harnessing the sea and the wind's power and coming out stronger to fight other battles.
And that's it for now. You can connect with us via our Facebook page, that of course being France24.51%, or do send us a tweet at _51%. Thanks for your feedback so far. And yes, please keep those comments and suggestions coming in. So until our next show, bye for now.